Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to see you. All right, so today we welcome internationally renowned Detroit's own DJ Stacey HOTWAXX Hale, the godmother of house music, to our seventh Detroit Grooves workshop. DJ HOTWAXX was the first female DJ to play house music on the radio in the 80s on several famous Motown radio stations, and she beat over 600 DJs in the Motor City Mix competition, which you'll hear more about later. Stacey HOTWAXX Hale has incredible production skills and has collaborated with artists like Eddie Fowlkes, Alton Miller, Kevin Saunderson, Marissa Guzman, Norma Jean Bell, Piranha Head Cahan, John Collins, Divinity Rocks, and Jessica Care among many others. Ms. Hale founded Geometry, which is an electronic music festival focused on changing narratives around representation in the electronic music scene. Please give a warm DSA welcome to Stacey HOTWAXX Hale.
Yay. Thank you.
So glad to have you here today.
Um, Thank you for having me.
All right, so we have a really awesome presentation to show our students here at DSA. I understand there may be one or two students who have worked with you in the past, so they're very excited to see you as well.
Cool. Happy to see them too. I miss everyone.
Yeah, well, all right, we'll get started. We have some really fantastic music. Please don't be afraid to get out of your chair and dance a bit. All right, everyone, here we go. Happy Friday.
Hi, I'm Stacey HOTWAXX Hale from Detroit. Hi, I'm Stacey HOTWAXX Hale from Detroit. I'm gonna clown. Yeah, and this city, I guess, because I've been playing for 30 plus years, or into the scene, all the way from throwing raves back in places that you ain't supposed to be doing it, but was doing that too. All the way up to 2021, where I'm producing raves online. How about that? So yeah. And during all that, and of course, and dealing with a slew of DJs, primarily men, but the wrath of women hit, I think, in about 2010. And here we are. During that time, they deemed me, I did not name myself the godmother of house. I didn't do it. And I ran from it for a long time until I realized it was a term of endearment. And so just in the last 5 years, I embraced it. And even where I, did the shirt and my graphic designer designed the shirt. And the reason why I like it is because my favorite movie in the world is The Godfather 1, 2, and 3. I can watch it anytime. That's for real. Had nothing to do with a name for me. That's just real. If you look over inside, you can see I got a thing signed by them. But it's just real. And so, ironically, this particular picture that was taken here was done by a photographer. That particular picture is on the wall over there. And it was taken in 1983, 84. And if you notice, the kind of pose looked like I wasn't a godmother then, that's for sure. Had to be a little tender 20 something. I don't know. But, just the attitude and the pose there. And again, I was being directed. And, that's what it is. So, how appropriate to be a part of this shirt and that particular image and becoming part of the logo. And she came up with putting the rose in my hand and the record on here that says Detroit. That's a great question. How did I get started? For the love of music, of course, the family loving music, and my brother, Aaron, had a great love for music, and he always had a wall of albums. And how typically as little kids we look at our older siblings, and you tend to mirror whatever they do, provided they beat people over the head and stuff like that. But and so, but anyway, just to love music, and I would just watch how he'd enjoy it. And of course, I couldn't help but love it too. And I knew that I loved the music, but at the time, a DJ was someone that's talked and say, hey, you're listening to la 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 la, and here's this jam, and you're playing that. And I was like, well, I knew I didn't want to talk. I was too, oh my God, please, I don't want to talk. And then one day I walked into the chessmate and I heard a mix. I heard the music do like this. I instantly knew what that was because I was so in tune to music that I knew it had blended. And I said, that's what I need to do. So I crawled myself up in the booth. I found a way. I still don't know how I did that this day. It was at the Chessmate, which was located on McNichols and Livernois. It's a laundromat now. And I saw up in the booth was this group called True Disco. Who made up True Disco was Ken Collier, Ronaldo White, Dwayne and the Mix Bradley, and Morris Mitchell. It was 4 guys. And they were playing disco. Now that's all I had to do was see what was going on, and that was enough for me. So I was already geeking on the equipment because of my brother, right? Reel to reels and all this stuff. And so I ran out and bought 2 turntables and a mixer. Didn't know how to mix nothing. And I taught myself how to mix. This was not cool at this time, but mind you, we were early 80s. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I would reach out to my uncle, who was a musician. His name was Freddie Hughes. And he had a club called The Circus, and he gave me my first job. And influenced me and said, hey, turn it up. I can remember saying, turn it up. I was scared to turn it up. But I would, I probably crash and mixes like crazy. And I got to know Ken Collier, and I asked him, I said, help me. Will you give me lessons? Or not necessarily lessons. He just monitored me. And anybody that knows him, if they had the pleasure of knowing him or being with him, he lived over in an apartment on the 2nd floor on Greenfield. And you'd sit on the floor. He always had his turntables on the floor. And that's how you would sit and mix. We'd cross our legs and we'd sit on the floor and we would mix. And he was another one. Turn it up. What are you doing? Because I'm scared to turn it up. Just terrified. But so that's how I started. I got my first job at Circus, and then I moved over to an after-hours club called Club Hollywood first. Then it was called Club Exclusive. It was all-female club, 800 people strong, from 12 to 6 in the morning. That's when I got my big lesson. So I was blessed to just help start a record pool called Dance Detroit. And that's how I would get my product and my records. So every week we pick up records and then we do that. And that's how I started. And I got discovered there playing at that club to the masses. From Duncan Sound was a big sound company here in Detroit that actually put DJs in different bars and all the big bars and clubs and would do mobile parties. And I got hired by them. I had to audition, and I got hired by them, and that's how I got introduced to the city. You talking about how music makes you feel? The first time I played this out in public, people start jumping over chairs, running to the floor. I was like, you name it, turkeys, crack, you name it, I'm like, for real? You name it, turkeys, crack, you name it, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog, 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 chickens, turkeys, crack, you name it, 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 beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, dog, beans, greens, potatoes. You see, somebody had took it. You know that comes from a church. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, Shirley Caesar. And they had made it hip hop. Like, that's cute. But I'm gonna make it house. So here was the song that was simply a sermon turned into a hip hop song, and I made it house. I have another Um, this is not, but it's from Detroit. And back to what I talk about combining um, music, as Detroit, of course, is known for Motown. Would you say that first? So with that Motown sound, and because right now we're dancing to many different genres of music, I was searching for a sample on this particular song, and I was just going to pull it out, and I end up making a track. Um, this particular piece is kind of appropriate for the times. So, should I say where it's from? Or who? Marvin Gaye. It's a sample from Marvin Gaye, and I wrote the other music that you hear in the background. And I'm gonna wait till it go through and it does this little trick, and you'll kind of hear what's happening with this song. I called it "Holla at Me." So you get it. You know, Marvin was way ahead of his time, right? And yeah, this is I don't even know how I came up with that beat, but just messing around on Ableton. It's available on Bandcamp. Has the little Afro piece in there. Jessica Care Moore.
Freedom is not what you wear or who you know. Freedom is not loud or pretentious. Freedom is kissing the break of dawn. Your spirit touching the corner of a heart. Freedom is found the lines of your palm. A hand replacing your soul, a believer. Finding your tribe, telling your story, writing breath. Freedom is laughing despite the pain. Freedom is drinking rain. The wolf, the eagle, the panther, the wind, the student, the teacher, the hallucinator, the leaders, the followers.
This was produced by myself and Norma Jean Bell, another native Detroiter.
The dreamers, the hallucinators, the time stoppers. Freedom is
Stephanie Christian
magic,
singing behind it, and Jessica Care Moore wrote this
named
Freedom.
How to say it.
We put it
Freedom
in song
is the needle
form.
against the wax, the spin of the record, the sum of all your fears, attracted by your children's lives. Freedom is the beauty of tears. It's how we measure our life work, how we explore possibilities, take risks, and live an unimaginable life. Freedom is never allowing them to tell you what you can't do. Freedom is releasing fear. Freedom is releasing fear. Freedom is a kiss in a crowded airport, a long hug on a dark dance floor, holding their hand when everyone's watching. Freedom is loving out loud. Freedom is the light, the goal waiting at the finish line. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto, sleeping in on Monday morning, telling your boss you are no longer available, no longer available. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto.
That's one of my favorite lines. That's why it says it 3 times.
Telling your boss you are no longer available, no longer available. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto. Sleeping in on Monday morning, telling your boss you are no longer available, no longer available. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto. Sleeping in on Monday morning, telling your
Now I'm gonna mix
boss you
this
are
next
no
one.
longer available, no longer available. No, 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 no longer available.
Now this is a remix that I did for Inner City featuring Stephanie Christian, native Detroiters. The guitar licks are done by Kat Dyson, who worked with Prince. And wrote many, many dance songs that you know. A lot of them. She is that one, Kat Dyson. I love doing that. I should let you hear the version that they had, and I totally took it in a whole direction, different direction, but I produced all the music behind that. Besides the guitar licks, that was Kat Dyson. And it's not released, so if you're hearing this, okay? The next one I'm gonna play is, because I did produce some techno tracks, kinda, and that's what I'm gonna mix into next. Different kind of beat. It's a little different flavor there, huh? That's it, right? That's what I said. I can be soulful, I can be Afro house, I can be, you know, you know, as a woman, I knew I had to create my own style. Um, First of all, it was just so unusual to be a woman in beat matching and mixing. So I really never had someone teach me. I could only observe and then take it on myself to see what to do. And thank God I had some type of music background. I played piano and I could read a bit and I could hear. My blessing is still that I can hear. So I know what sounds good or was does not sound good. And that's kind of part of what I teach. I always tell my students to trust yourself. You hear something, either it sound good or it doesn't. Don't lie to yourself. Either it sound good or it don't. Wait for somebody to tell you. You don't have to, to decide that. And so I take on the same characteristics. So I blend something. Either it sounds good right there, or it doesn't. Um, so at the time that I started mixing, here's one of the things that again, being a woman or just be. Let me back that up. The fact that mixing wasn't normal. I'm not going to say it wasn't cool. Nobody knew it well enough to say it was cool or not cool. And I was primarily playing for let's say my late night club without women, but it's through Duncan Sound, and I'm playing around the city for professionals. They had after work events and different things like that. They come in after work. It was doctor, lawyers, and everything you can think of that got off of work at 5 o'clock. And they all merged into whatever favorite spot it was, from Piper's Alley to Lafayette Orleans to the Lady to the Studio 54. And I would be one of the DJs, like I said, he would place us in different cities. Now, mind you, these people could give a damn about a mix. What? So I created this thing called Sneaker Mix. Sneaker Mix. And this is, I'm gonna change the record and you ain't gonna know it's changing. That's how I mastered locking my mixes in tight, not really knowing that's what I was doing, but I would practice and change the song where you would not know it changed. That's how I tuned my ear in. And they would have danced 5 or 6 records before they realized, oh my God, wait a minute, I've been on the dance floor that long. They didn't know. And primarily, I guess something I didn't know, I found myself putting the same songs produced by producers. It could be a different singer, but that same production person would have a similar sound. And so those are the things that I would put together. Kashif, George Morado, different, and I look back and go like, dang, no wonder this worked with that and this worked with that, because typically they would have some of the same sounds. But so I would blend everything on Solar Records, Shalimar, all that stuff. The whispers. You could, I could, the feel of was just, and that's why they wouldn't know. They would, because it's different song. And so I would get through about 5 or 6, and then I'd stop and put on a slow record. They'd be like, dang. Or sometimes when they realize they had danced so many songs, like, okay, because they're not used to that, going hard, where I came right out the gate. Let's go. You want to dance. So that's how I learned observation, dedication, and sneaker mix. Mm-hmm. In 1985, while I was working at Cheeks, I competed in a contest, WJLB, the Motor City Mix. And there were 600 contestants that entered with their cassettes. I entered the contest with my cassette, and along with another DJ that was too lazy to do his mix, I did one and put in his name as well, Elton Weathers. Both of those cassettes won. They went, down to 20 people and submitted. So then we had to go down to the Masonic Temple to play to prove that, okay, this wasn't something pre-produced. And he came and he did that, and he made it, to the round where it got down to 6, because he could play. He would just didn't submit his mix. But I got a lot, and Elton Weathers' name. I just got a lot of I got some encouragement or a lot of his flair. I loved his style. I mean, he could play. That's who taught me how to mix slow music. I just thought that was, oh my God, what? You can mix a slow record? because I'm so used to, going. In any case, the final was held at the Fox Theater, and I won first place. At that time, I got recognition nationally because the judges were from New York, and they afterwards I become a DJ on WJLB and became a Billboard reporter. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a and so doing that. So this is 85. So we're talking about 95, and here's the dawn of techno coming up our from our backside, and the dawn of house music that I grabbed immediately. I actually played house music at the Fox when I won that contest, and because of me knowing about the sneaker mix, that's what I did. I snuck the mix in on them of house music when nobody knew what that was. And so one of my tracks was Jesse Saunders' On and On, which was the very first house music record ever made. I know, I was listening to all of them, and you can't deny it, just whatever it is. But I'd mix that with dance music and Martin Circus and Xena, and I had Madonna in it, and, just the anthem, the first Captain Rap. You know that song? Captain Rap, I can't stand, you can stand. Who was that? Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And so Captain Rap hit, and that record stayed number one, playing around the city for 20 years. You could play it right now, and they go, like they ain't never heard nothing. I don't ever want to hear the record again in my life, ever, 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 ever. But it is a jam, but I don't want to hear it no more. That's just how many times I had to play it. But part of programming is what I did when I was at the Fox, and I played the record and mixed it with some Madonna. They went crazy. Yes, I could mix, but it's the programming that won that contest. And even right to today, I have DJs remembering what I did then, and they play the mix for me on Facebook and go back, and that just blows me away. I'm like, how do you, huh? And so just that little bit of, it's a lot of things that I've done in the past, and they're still influencing people today. And for them to remember that, I am just major, major honored. So now here come the women. We can do it. And, the men still were doing not the best things to women. And this is just because of them telling me, some of the females that vied to become DJs, and I beat into their head, don't allow your sexuality to sell your talent. You can do that, but can you please have some talent? Because nothing drives me crazy worse that you got her up here playing because she got, and then you can't play. I'm just the perfectionist on that. So you bring it, and then you just be able to bring it. I don't care what else you do, but just be able to bring it. Don't. And I absolutely cannot stand the term "you play good for a woman" because I want to know, when did your sexuality play the music? That's one of my biggest peeves. Like, you're good for a girl, get out of here. Just get out of here. I don't want to, and to me, and that's a man or woman, you want to be known for what you sound like and what you're delivering and how you make the people feel, not because of what you are. What does that have to do with it? I don't know. Maybe I missed something. And if I did, so what? I'm going to stay missing it. I find music by listening. No, not, well, of course, listening. But I find my mood. It's kind of my mood. Sometimes I feel soulful. Sometimes I feel deep. Sometimes I feel techno. Sometimes I feel tech house. So it's back to, sometimes I want to bring her in. And so I'll listen to various places. I'll go to Bandcamp. I'll go to Track Source. Sometimes I listen to some people on Twitch just to kind of, get a feel. And if they're playing my mood, then I'll listen to them past 15 minutes or so and select songs like that. And many times, well, not many, but sometimes I'll hear songs and they may not be doing exactly what I want them to do. Then I remix them myself and make them do what I want them to do. I've always done that, even with editing reel to reel. I'm just like, okay. So I remember the longest I couldn't get a copy of Blow Your House Down. Then they named one called Searching, and for whatever reason we could not get it. So I'm like, fine, and I made my own. I just took it and it was cutting, splicing tape, and I so do the same thing here. Jump on Ableton or whatever it is and make my own. But it really it's my mood, and so what I know I need to feel, and that's where I'll go to get it. You know, I do some Celestials festivals sometimes, and they like nothing but instrumentals, and I can get like that. You know, I kind of go down that path and do that, and I love deep house. I can be that. I love that. So I go in that mode. No sense in me coming out going bam, 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 bam. Although I can do that, you know. So, you know, just and sometimes that's why I love doing my show. I can start out very mellow, and before you know it, I like telling a story. I think any DJ that's worth their whatever it is they're worth, you need to be able to tell a story. That's how you capture an audience, and that's the reason you play music is not just to make some noise. And this is HOTWAXX opinion. You play music to make people feel good. You play music because you want them to dance. You play music because you want to tell a story. Whatever that story is. Everybody's story is different, you know. But I'm blessed. I play house, and most of my music is very positive. It's very spiritual at some point and sometime. It's not like I won't cuss and stuff. It ain't like I'm, you know, the goody two shoes and stuff. But, you know, most of the time it's singing about positive things or just some instrumentals, what it make you feel. That's what I'm all about, how the music makes you feel. And it can only make you feel good if it sounds good. It's got to sound good. Hence why I told you me creating this music, playing it over the internet, that not only just playing it, that it had to sound good. And I already have the message of making it feel good because I'm already previewing and I'm playing it and I'm listening to it. So if it makes me feel good, it's going to come off over to you. Taste, and you know, it's so many different types of music out here that I got a little I don't want to say frustrated, but I'm like, okay, you're gonna keep making up names of music, you're gonna keep calling all these different genres. Ain't no truth to that, so I'm gonna make up my own, right? So I made up something called Rap No, and with Detroit's own Grace Lee Boggs, I wrote a Rap No. It's called Rap and Techno Mix, and hey.
Well, let me start by saying thank you.
Have a little bit of that Asian flair in it. So use those. If you don't know who Grace Lee Boggs is, Google it.
And I'm still around in the 21st century when I believe the next American Revolution has already started. And it's going to be a very, very different revolution from the Russian Revolution. And we're going to think of power in a very different way. We're going to think about power more, less in terms of state power, and more in terms of the power that we have within ourselves to change ourselves, to change the world. We are at an extraordinary time in the history of humanity. I believe that we have the opportunity and are in the midst of a cultural revolution that is as far-reaching as the transformation from hunting and gathering to agriculture 11,000 years ago, and from agriculture to capitalism and industry a few hundred years ago.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us through those technical difficulties. Just a reminder, we're going to put things up on YouTube, so it'll be available later. So, are there any questions in the chat? I wasn't able to check that out. Or do any students have questions for Stacey? We're out here now.
Hi, everybody. I miss you over there at DSA. I see.
I know
I
Ashton
like.
was a part of your group. Ashton's here.
Hey, Ashton, show your face. Can I see you, please? Hey, how you doing? Thank you. Thank you for watching and tuning in. Yeah, enjoy. Thank you. Thank you. Um, the famous Gina Ellis, who's a producer, dancer, and we work together as Stream Team. She's online, and we work in the Stream thing, and she's the stage manager for Secret Society of Storybook Tellers. I asked her to come in and see. I mentioned to you about Randy, but he's teaching class for this hour. Yeah. So I want to know what all of you've been doing. Ask me questions. I mean, what are you feeling? What did you learn from this? Talk to me, text to me, something. Okay.
We got some things in the chat. We have some. Ashton says, "I want to thank you for inspiring me to be the person I am today."
Oh, great! That is wonderful.
Yeah, inspiring. Inspired to go home and practice on my controllers. Miss Borum.
Was
Yeah.
it that I was inspired by? Yeah, I may mentioned the music inspired me the most, and then I had to fight hard to find someone that I could hear, to see, to learn, to watch. And again, as I spoke about in a female at that time, no one was happy to teach me. I mean, like, oh, here, yeah. So, as anything, it has to come from within. And when you're passionate about something, whatever it is, you have to take that on, and you go through any means necessary in order to succeed if you're that passionate about it. I had no female at all. There wasn't any. There was one in New York, and I didn't meet her till 20 years after the fact. I knew her. Her name was Sharon White. If you go to my fan page, DJ Stacey HOTWAXX Hale, Mixmag did a big story on the pioneers of women that started with music and doing stuff. So it's on there. So they took the story. They wrote the story, out of Mixmag, out of the UK, and they speak about Sharon. Yes.
We have a hand raised over here. Miss Borum, go ahead with your question.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Good morning.
So I'm a little bit older, but I have grown up listening to you. And so I wanted to know about the change or the shift from wax to actual albums to CDs and now digital. How was that transformation? And do you have a favorite or a preference?
Great question. I kind of, we can only fit so much into an hour, but I spoke about that and asked the question. So let me see if I can sum it up. Of course, wax. Absolutely. Love the wax. Love the analog feel. Love the way that it talks. It's very easy to see. You go through the albums and pick out, you can see and pick up and go with what you want. And it was being very wax driven. And in doing that, when the CDs started to come out, I just thought it was sacrilegious. A CD? Oh no. I'm never gonna play a CD. I remember I was real hard on that. It's like, I just thought it was just gross. And as I mentioned that I was a Billboard reporter, so they would still send me stuff, and they started sending CDs. And most of the CDs would just have one track on it. They would be promoting whatever they were promoting. And one day, Polydor, Polygram Records, sent uh, a consolation, and it was in the shape of a flower, and it was 2 CDs in it. And they had a bunch of different artists on that CD. It had some Funkadelics and that was the one that stayed in my head the most because they had the Funkadelics on there. And then 5 or 6 other artists, they were all in. And that's kind of when the light bulb went off, like you can have a lot of different things on the CD and without caring, to get 10 songs on one CD versus 10, 12 inches. I said, I think I might like this. I get so again, the CD players weren't up to par to feel like a record, but anyway, I said I'll push the button and play that, but still wasn't able to mix it. So as technology kept going, they finally brought the CDJs up to where they had to feel like I was playing a record. So I'm still stuck, gotta have a record. It's gotta feel like a record. It still does to me this very day. And so the CDs, and so then here comes the computer with Serato and Tractor and various other things. And some of my fellow DJs who work with females, they literally took they forced me to play Serato. I was terrified because I'm thinking the computer will crash and then the party is over. So I had to go with a stack of CDs just in case, because I did not trust that computer. Okay, so now I'm comfortable with it. I'm gonna get around that. It's like, oh, fast, and then it's easy because you can go in and type what song you want. You can get it and pull it up and it's there. Now we done jump down to a flash drive and an SD card, and another terrifying thing, because there's so much on the flash drive and there's so much on the SD card. So you hand me a SD card with 500 songs on it, I'm going, oh my God, how am I find it? So I've gone through that terror. So and so now the controller, so now they combined everything inside of it. I'm okay with it now, but I still like my records. I still enjoy playing. I don't want to ever carry any crates anymore, nowhere, and it's all right. I have carried as many 9 crates to an event and played them all. So that'll never have to be. Can you imagine 9 crates for real? Fill up the back seat of the car, the entire trunk. It was be one of those all-day picnics. Yeah.
Thank you.
But vinyl is coming back. People are, for whatever reason, they love it, and that's okay by me. And every now and then I do an all vinyl party, but it can't be but an hour or two because I can't carry. I'm not going to carry that many records. I'm just not. And I know a slew of DJs that have lost all the records because they didn't want to carry them, so they leave them in the club where they're playing. The club burned down. I know at least 5 DJs that has happened. Mm-hmm.
We have a couple things here in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
First, I'm going to say William Hill III says, first off, I just want to say thank you for being here. What I took away from this is that it's okay to mix different genres together. And also, don't shortchange yourself when you create music. Be true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Ashton wants to know when COVID-19 dies down, where we can see you in person to listen to you mix.
Oh, very, very good question. I actually work at a virtual club. It's called, I'm going to put it in the chat. It's called technoclub.net. I'm on twice a month on Saturday at the first and the third Saturday. When that 5th one comes in there, it gets a little weird. Just like this month, the first was the first, but I didn't come on until actually the second one and the third one. And so I'll be on not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. But the good thing about that is archives. So you can go in and listen to these mixes at any time. There's 10 rooms. They're all colored rooms, black, white, purple, orange, gray. I'm in the orange room. Um, Yellow room is it's really cool. If well, no, I'm gonna try and tell you, give me some screen shares. Some really great graphics done. Um, Far different than Twitch. You know, you can go on Twitch and hear a bunch of stuff, but you got commercials and it's a gaming site. So it's a lot of different things going on in there. But inside of technoclub.net, it's all music. And the fact that you can go back and listen to it at your leisure. I play a minimum of 4 hours when I'm in there, so I'm able to tell a full story. I just release all that, playing all the music I want. You can imagine my collection is well over 10, 20, 30,000 of selections of music and stuff I have. I don't play them all at once, but I tell quite a story, you know, just be in my mood. I let my kitten join me sometimes and be all up in the picture. And it caused me to hone my skills in graphics. You know, with this virtual world coming, you know, I learned how to use a program called OBS. That's primarily what was created through Twitch and what drives the information there. And so DJs hit that site with a vengeance. And so now I have things flying behind me or whatever I choose to do, you know, for you to have it. I'm also, I don't know if you're familiar with Movement, the Movement Festival, which has gotten COVID hit as everything else. And so they're having something called Micro Movement. And I will be playing, well, it's not gonna be virtual, it's gonna be live. Now that I think they've, you know, created this minimum amount of people. Well, you can't go to the bars anyway, so I guess, but it's going to be streamed. So yeah, so if you follow Paxo House and you follow Marble Bar, these will be streamed. So I'll be streamed on the 21st, the 28th, the 30th. That's just so I can remember, you know, I'll keep that posted on my fan page. Go to my fan page on Facebook and click like, so you'll get the alerts. My Instagram is @HOTWAXX. You do this so you can find that.
Awesome. Just to wrap up, could you maybe talk a little bit about your collaborations with live musicians? Because we have a lot of students here, they play acoustic instruments, but they're also interested in electronic production.
Oh, yes, yes. Always, even from day one, I enjoyed, I love musicians, just the love of music. And I'm in a band called Black Women Rock. And this was Jessica Caramore, who you've heard from on another session, just ingenious. And like her mission was to showcase Black women that play rock music, because that's not usual. You know, when you think of Black women, you put them in probably every other category but rock. When the truth is, there are a ton of Black women that play rock music. We tend to look at that as anything else. You think of white men playing rock. It's just, you know, we're wired that way. And so we do this show every year, Charles Wright, and we travel and do things. And each time it's 5, 6 different women, and we learn the songs and we do that. Thornetta Davis has been one of our artists that we featured that is a native Detroiter that's just awesome. Well, in any case, we're in rehearsal and, you know, I was tired of hearing rock music, so I just started banging some house and playing. I was just, you know, on my own. It was our break. And the musicians joined in with me and started playing with me. I looked and I was so excited that because they're classically trained and just like you guys, you know, like you're studying the art of music, they're readers and all this. And that's the last thing in the world I would think they want to do is to play this kind of music and element play with me. And so it was so well that I formed a group called Numa Muziki. And that stands for house music in Swahili. And so we've been playing around the city and doing stuff. So we jam together. That's what we have a percussionist, Aisha Johnson, a violinist, Ashley Nelson, and you may even know Cecilia, who's taught at DSA, Urban Strings, Lauren Johnson, doing some percussion and drums. Deblon Jackson, playing the flute. Nikki Sky Covington, she's Nikki when she's house, but she's Sky Covington when she's singing jazz. My underground name is M32. When I'm underground, I'm M3. Just wherever you see that, that's me too. But yeah, so the collaboration to put the music and stuff together, to be able to do live instruments and be able to DJ, and knowing some theory of music, or somehow you're able to blend that part well. And as again, telling the story, that people absolutely love it. You can't help but to love it. The DJ doesn't take over the musician, or the musician doesn't take over the DJ. This is, how I collab with them. And many times I'll throw it to them. They have to come to me. Sometimes I come all the way out and I have to go to them. That's like my most favorite thing, and again, I mentioned earlier in that, if something sounds bad, so you don't want to sound bad. If you're going to come to them, you're going to sound right. You have to bring that in right. You just can't come in like, or whatever that is, or playing something that's offbeat, or something that's not in tune, or something that's, not in that note. You want to merge it and make it sound good. That's also on Facebook, a segment on there, NYUMBIMUZIKI. And you can see a segment of that. With us playing, and did an opening birthday party at Marble Bar.
Awesome. And we have one last question over in Teams, because we're streaming on Microsoft Teams as well. Someone wants to know what the real difference is between house music and techno.
Very good question. It's kind of a feeling. House music was a derivative out of the church, out of the Baptist churches. I can say Baptist, and then maybe some other denominations that would fit into that. But if you've on television, you've seen them get happy, dun, 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 and it's kind of repetitious, dun, 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 and keyboards. That's house music, a derivative of that. That's what house music was. Again, with the positive, about the feeling. The only thing that's repetitious about it is maybe the beat line, or maybe some loop that's going over and over. There could be a keyboard, but most of the time the keyboard just breaks out in solos. And like I said, most of your lyrics is really, really positive stuff. Produce more live instruments to me in house music than it is in techno. Techno music before I go into that, and your house music, usually BPM is between 118 to 125, 6. And you're kind of in that range. Techno music maybe starts at 126 up to I'll give it to 140. It has more of a industrial feel. That's true techno. You'll have the cling, so you have a repetition beat and not necessarily any lyrics. And so the beat is harder, can be darker, and it's just, as I said, they keep making up so many different types of music. There's no one thing to say, oh, this is that, this is it. If you ever go to Track Source and you pick out a, say, genre, and you hear something go like, that's not what that is. So it becomes an interpretation as to, what that music is. And what I find is they've started to put some funk inside of the techno. Put a funky bass line inside of a techno that's beating like clang, clang, clang. And I like it. So this, so it's kind of cool. So then you say, okay, what is this? So now it's a thing called minimal tech. I'm like, okay. And what does that mean? They turned the drum down a little bit and made it sound a little softer, but it's still techno. But now it's minimal. So yeah, it's a difference, but it goes back into a feeling. I can be very soulful, but again, have you dancing to some techno and you didn't know. It just happens. It goes with the feeling of, how it happened. I swore, I said, I don't like dubstep. I just thought it was crazy. What you call trap now, because that trap is a derivative of dubstep to my ear. This is my interpretation. because I just thought it was weird. It'll make no sense, no count, nothing. And here's trap. It's like I still can't define that. It's saying, oh, this is what this is. And then Erykah Badu did a dubstep, and I went crazy. It's just so good. All of a sudden, it's like go, and then it dropped all the way down and go to the top part. And so, the thing is called good music. There's no difference. You just pick out something that sounds good. You say you don't like country western music, and all of a sudden, oh, I like that because it sounds good. But great question. I hope that kind of give you an idea of the difference in techno and house. I just kind of know where it came from. What it sound like to me, I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, and like William Hill was saying, like being true to yourself and playing what you feel, playing your mood. So we're gonna wrap up today. Thank you very much, Stacey, for being here with us. We really, really appreciate your time, for coming in live and doing the recording with us earlier. And to just keep the mood going, if you guys want to stay around, we're gonna play the full mix that we recorded from that session, hopefully without glitches this time. So yeah, if you want to stay on and groove a little bit, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Detroit, of course, is known for Motown. Would you say that first? So with that Motown sound, and because right now we're dancing to many different genres of music, I was searching for a sample on this particular song, and I was just going to pull it out, and I ended up making a track. This particular piece is kind of appropriate for the times. So, should I say where it's from? Or who? Marvin Gaye. It's a sample from Marvin Gaye, and I wrote the other music that you hear in the background. And I'm gonna wait till it go through and it does this little trick, and you'll kind of hear what's happening with the song. I called it "Holla at Me." So you get it, Marvin was way ahead of his time, right? And yeah, this is I don't even know how I came up with that beat, but just it's messing around on Ableton. It's available on Bandcamp. Has the little Afro piece in there. Jessica Care Moore.
Freedom is not what you wear or who you know. Freedom is not loud or pretentious. Freedom is kissing the break of dawn. Your spirit touching the corner of a heart. Freedom is found in the lines of your palm. A hand replacing your soul, a believer. Finding your tribe, telling your story, writing breath. Freedom is laughing despite the pain. Freedom is drinking rain. The wolf, the eagle, the panther, the wind, the student, the teacher, the hallucinator, the leaders, the followers.
This was
the
produced by
dance floor,
myself
the new
and
the truth
Norma
tellers,
Jean Bell,
the
another native
anointed,
Detroiter.
The dreamers, the hallucinators, the time stoppers. Freedom is
Stephanie
believing in
Christian
magic,
singing
and first
behind it,
times and rebirths
and Jessica
revolution.
Cameron
Freedom is
wrote
knowing
this
your own name,
named
telling
Freedom.
them how to say it.
We put it in
Freedom
song
is the needle
form.
against the wax, the spin of the record, the sum of all your fears, subtracted by your children's lives. Freedom is the beauty of tears. It's how we measure our life work, how we explore possibilities, take risks and live an unimaginable life. Freedom is never allowing them to tell you what you can't do. Freedom is releasing fear. Freedom is releasing fear. Freedom is a kiss in a crowded airport, a long hug on a dark dance floor, holding their hand when everyone's watching. Freedom is loving out loud. Freedom is the light, the goal waiting at the finish line. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto, sleeping in on Monday morning, telling your boss you are no longer available, no longer available. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto.
That's one of my favorite lines. That's why it says it 3 times.
Telling your boss you are no longer available, no longer available. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto, sleeping in on Monday morning, telling your boss you are no longer available, no longer available. Freedom is horseback riding through the ghetto, sleeping in on Monday morning, telling your
Now I'm gonna mix
boss you
this
are
next
no
one.
longer available, no longer available. No, 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 no longer available.
Now this is a remix that I did for Inner City featuring Stephanie Christian, native Detroiters. The guitar licks are done by Cat Dyson, who worked with Prince. And wrote many, many dance songs that you know. A lot of them. She is that one, Cat Dyson. I love doing that. I should let you hear the version that they had, and I totally took it in a whole direction, different direction, but I produced all the music behind that. Besides the guitar licks, that was Cat Dyson. And it's not released, so if you're hearing this, okay? The next one I'm gonna play is, because I did produce some techno tracks, kinda, and that's what I'm gonna mix into next. Different kind of beat. It's a little different flavor there, huh? That's what you said, right? That's what I said. I can be soulful, I can be Afro house, I can be, you know. This is actually out on Marvel's label that we did to raise funds for the employees. Out. Actually, we changed the words because this particular one you hear has the sample that I wanted to do, and it's got Grace. Well, we took it out and put Detroit, and it's actually my voice. So when you hear Can't You Tell, it says Detroit, Detroit, and it's my voice. Can't you tell? And it's going to be out on Wax, and you can get that on Bandcamp too. So just go to the Marble Bar. About 13 artists all from Detroit. You produce tracks out, and that's how you get that. So if you're hearing this is unique and special that you hear this piece, but this is where it came from. So now I'm gonna play another deep track, deep dark techno. That's Kevin Mike, and he put this out. This is out on KMS. I think I wrote this originally being a music bed, and somehow Kevin heard it some kind of way. He said, I want that a song. I'm like, Kevin gets, Kevin wants. It's like, I'm like, okay, I got busy. So that's just a little taste, and it's so many different types of music out here that I got a little I don't want to say frustrated, but I'm like, okay, you're gonna keep making up names of music, you're gonna keep calling all these different genres, ain't no truth to that, so I'm gonna make up my own, right? So I made up something called Rap No, and with Detroit's own Grace Lee Boggs, I wrote a Rap No. It's called Rap and Techno Mix, and hey.
Well, let me start by saying thank you.
Have a little bit of that Asian flair in it. So use those. If you don't know who Grace Lee Boggs is, Google it.
And I'm still around in the 21st century, when I believe the next American Revolution has already started. And it's going to be a very, very different revolution from the Russian Revolution. And we're going to think of power in a very different way. We're going to think about power more, less in terms of state power, and more in terms of the power that we have within ourselves to change ourselves, to change the world. We are at an extraordinary time in the history of humanity. I believe that we have the opportunity and are in the midst of a cultural revolution that is as far-reaching as the transformation from hunting and gathering to agriculture 11,000 years ago, and from agriculture to capitalism and industry a few hundred years ago.